Okay. So this is what I'm going to be kind of recreating here, but I want to do it on an 11 by 14 or an 11 by 15 watercolor sheet. So it is my Dream Walker design. I have like a smaller sketch of it, but it is just black and white, and I kind of want to do a full color piece, It's gotten some decent looks, and I think people have liked the sketch. So why not? Why not go with something like this? But this is a little just flat, right? Because it's sideways, it's a silhouette. Which originally was the idea, but it doesn't feel super representative of my work. That would be more of like a graphic design type situation, So we got to look at Michael Jackson tippy toes. And I mean, he did that so often that there are multiple images from multiple performances from multiple angles of him doing the tippy toe pose. But what we're looking for is one that can be matched specifically with the hat, right? Because the hat is kind of similar to Freddy's like fedora. And in Smooth Criminal, the video for Smooth Criminal is really kind of when that became also a look for him. So there's not a ton of video or images of that specific pose with the hat. There's the iconic one where he's just like, he like leans forward and then comes back, and so do all of his dancers. And they did that. I was looking at like, how did he do the tippy toe pose? Like I was just looking up the tippy toe pose, and then it gave the little like, well, how did he do the tippy toe pose? And it was kind of like like he had great like really strong calves and leg strength and core strength to do that. But his shoes were also made a specific way. So just trying to find the proper pose. Like, I like this side pose a lot. It just doesn't, I don't know, it doesn't scream like if you saw it as a print. Like, oh, it'd be cute, but like, would it knock you out of your socks enough to want to purchase it, right? What's up, Dustin? How's your week off going? And this is why this is like um, an interesting one, because he had so many good poses that I could. It doesn't have to be this one, right? It could be the lean pose, which is actually like the outfit, the white suit with the white hat and the like electric blue shirt is the outfit he wore for the Moonwalker video. And if this is the Dreamwalker, that kind of fits, right? Plus, like, you could see Freddie doing something like this. Like, you keep him in his entire costume, but you change the shoes, you give his pants the high water, and then you have the glove. And I did check, and apparently Michael Jackson, like when he started, he primarily wore the sparkly glove on his right hand, but then he would switch. And then, like in the, what was it, the 90s, he was doing he had like the wrist brace on. Because anybody can do like the off kilter, like cocked shoulder that Freddie, that pose that was made famous, that I heard was actually because the glove was so heavy that it actually caused Robert Englund to kind of shift, which made for that awesome, like, very gunslinger esque, like shoulder dip, which was then just used repeatedly throughout the Freddy movies. So, but yeah, Dustin, what you said about the that Jim Lee cover, yeah, I think it's like it's four covers to make one big image, and then there was a fifth cover that had the gatefold that you could pull it out. And it was like the deluxe one that had all of the covers together in one image. So we can worry about the stripes themselves later. Yeah, it definitely wasn't the first connecting cover. In fact, I saw a video with Chuck Patton, who had been a long time artist on like Justice League, and he had he did four issues. It wasn't one issue with four covers. It was four issues, but it was like one here, one here, one here, and one here. And it was one cohesive image, but with like the trade dress on top of all of them. God, these images are all so small. Trying to find a good. That was on CNN? That's crazy. It's like looking up the tilt that he did. And I guess it was legit. That's not the Billie Jean suit. The crazy thing about the Smooth Criminal outfit is so much of the so much of his face is covered up. You get kind of a 3/4 with that. So let's. And even though it's a rough, it's fine to work big. So he has his shoulder out. My thought is it should either be this pose, the tippy toe grabbing the hat pose, or actually moonwalking, but I feel like that may be difficult to convey with the a single image, right? And he is like stiff as a board. Like his chest and stomach kind of bow out like that. Chest goes out. Stomach pushes out. Legs are together. Feet point out slightly. This one, it's so iconic, but at the same time, like, is it is it going to, convey what I'm wanting? The other thing is if I do it this way, you lose more dimension, just like if I do it this way, you do get both arms, and I could put, that back leg up there, doing the high waters. But that's still very, very simple. So I'm going to shoot for this one. And then I think this is going to be my first piece in this one. I can't remember if I tore a had to buy a new sketch watercolor pad. Okay, so we're just going to do that flat because then that can lay there. And then I kind of had an idea for like the background and everything, so I'll do that as well. I kind of like the off-kilter pose because Freddie did a lot of like really silly stuff, like body-wise. The crazy thing is Freddie is like, yeah, I'm gonna watercolor it. I don't know if I'll be able to get to all of that tonight, but it'll definitely be in color. I mean, if nothing else, for this sweater, right? What I may do, depending on how fast I get this done, I may pause and actually like if I get the inks done, scan it and just scan the lines and then get to and then come back and then do the paints. And I think what I'm going to do for my prints going forward, I'm still going to limit them. I'm still going to do like, there will be 25, big prints, or maybe I'll switch that to the small prints being 25 and then doing less big prints because the small prints tend to sell better. Maybe do like 10 or 15 large scale and then do like the 25 small, but then still keep the number limited so that once those sell out, they're done. So like I do 25 of this, it sells, this is retired as a print, which, should hopefully generate some, you know, what do you call it? Impulse buying, because people will be like, oh, I really like that. And I don't want to lose out, So hopefully it'll influence them to purchase it. And a lot of my prints don't have like the full body in them. So this will be interesting. Like all of my Akira prints, 2 of the Chainsaw Man prints, and technically all 3 of them, because they're behind the table, but their full bodies are in there. I think those are the only ones that have the entire body. Like Jason technically does as well, because he's perspective going down into the rock. Like it's not just a cutoff like right there. What is your favorite Nightmare on Elm Street movie? Really? That's crazy. I always figure like, the staples of American horror are definitely, Jason, Freddy, Michael Myers, to a slightly lesser extent. As much as I love Chucky, I don't think he's like a top 3 for most people. Okay, I'm just trying to get the hand pose in my head right. Another tip for artists or non-artists is if you're using like a rubber eraser like this, it'll pick up your graphite. So kind of like sharpening a lead by rubbing it on a pencil or paper. you clean up the graphite on it, right? So it doesn't leave graphite marks on your paper that you're trying to erase from, like your finished product paper. So the pose that I have is the hand pose. Is like 3 fingers. Your thumb would be posted to the outside. See, this is where the other pose came in handy. Oh, that's fair. He's done a ton. I just picked up 2001 Maniacs the other night. Remember, kids, drawing hands can be hard. So, if you are not sure how to do something, fudge it. Forget if I've seen the Mangler. I think Robert really embraces, his role in not just cinema history, but in horror history and culture as Freddy Krueger. Like, I think he really likes being known as that guy. I mean, and considering he was a like classically trained actor who performed on stage, like that's why he's got such a great presence as Freddy. Like the wild gesticulations and stuff like that really come out. So this is what I've got to do here. I've got to make the pose a bit more dynamic. So we're not going to erase that yet. Tighten that up a little bit. So you can take him out. Give it a little bit more, because this shows it's a little bit more to the side looking in. Like it's more, not quite a 3/4. This looks more straight on. So the face is fine to erase because a lot of that is going to be in shadow. So then we do that. So move his hips in. He had kind of a small cameo, Robert Englund had in the first Hatchet movie. Now to figure out, you flare out the hand like this part. I like the motion here. Yeah, that's going to fit a little bit better. Also, can flash the glove out a little bit more. Because he's got a really slight frame, so I'd kind of like to see Robert Englund in like a dramedy or a dramatic romance, like replace Clint Eastwood in Bridges of Madison County for Robert Englund, you know. I believe he could do it too. Like I think that the interesting thing is we get so many people who get caught up in not wanting to be the horror guy, you know. And Kane Hodder has said, you know, he hates that there are people who are literally ashamed that they've done horror when it, you know, it put food on the table, not his words, but like it put food on the table and it got them into Hollywood, you know. I mean, Kevin Bacon, yeah, he was on some soaps and stuff like that, but he was in the first Friday the 13th. Jamie Lee Curtis was in the first Halloween, obviously. Katherine Heigl was in Bride of Chucky. George Clooney started out in some horror movies. I don't think Charlie Sheen started in horror movies, but some of his early movies were horror movies. Jennifer Aniston, Matthew McConaughey, Renee Zellweger. Yeah, George Clooney was in. I mean, it was a comedy, but Return of the Killer Tomatoes. But he had a small part in Grizzly 2, along with Charlie Sheen. They were among the first ones to get killed. Corey Feldman, for better or worse, you know. So I was thinking of doing like a like a silhouette blast coming out from behind, like the light tunnel in part 3. Let's see. The interesting thing is the sweater in the first Nightmare on Elm Street is different than the sweater in the other Nightmare on Elm Streets. The first movie has solid sleeves and the stripes along the torso. The stripes along the entire sweater came about, I believe, in the second movie. Yeah, there's the Mezco collective. Nightmare on Elm Street Freddy has solid red sleeves. Oh God, why is that not even like a big picture? That sucks. So that's a stupid close up, and I don't like that one. That is a drawing. But I don't think like original Freddy was not um super comedic, right? And that goes around. That. There we go. So the bottom of his sweater, I can't tell. On his free hand, it looks like it's green. The pose and the costume are more important than like his face. So I think there's going to be like some touches of color. This might primarily be not black and white, but like muted palette. I think the El Cucuy that I did the other day might have one of the more bold palettes of that I've done for some horror stuff. I mean, they have more stuff in common. The hat, the moves, voices are very distinct. Um, like you say, Michael, people associated with Michael Jackson, maybe Michael Jordan, but more people I think are going to associate it with Michael Jackson. You say Freddie, really young people are probably going to be like Five Nights at Freddy's, but those people are dumb and we give them a little bit of grace. All right. So let's try this. books have gone into production, or I mean, not in production, but into the printer. So I'm pretty excited about that. He did dress in a was it a tux? Could try that. Of him in the tux. Yeah, I know. I think they did a Migo of it too. See something. Let's see. It is smooth. Michael Jackson, Smooth Criminal action figure from Sideshow is $629.99. That is crazy. The suit was open too. Like the suit wasn't. Well, let's do this, and then I can. I think enough people will get the pose, and the toes, and I'm going to do sparkles on the socks, or not a sparkles, but what do you call it? Like an effect. I mean, I paid about that much, if not, yeah, probably about that much for my Akira artwork. What scale was that? It was the one from Hyper Toys. Well, it doesn't even say how tall it is. Let's see here. That's so weird. They like don't even what the scale of the fucking figure is. That's so ridiculous. I'm guessing it's like 12 or 18. But yeah, I would have to be like a really big fan to drop that. And don't get me wrong, like I like Michael Jackson. I think he's probably the greatest overall entertainer of all time. Certainly in American entertainment history, but maybe overall. But I mean, I wouldn't spend that much money on that. guess it would make sense that this sleeve would be super shredded up. Cool. Let's see here. I don't know that I really want to give him so much of a face, right? Like, because it still gives this original like silhouette. So so work a little bit on his face and figure that out. Because he has this, it's not just the burn scars, right? Like, he has this really, like, if you look at images of Freddy, like the classic pose where he's got the glove up next to his face, he has this crazy nose. That's one of the like things that I did like about the remake is they address the aesthetic um of Freddy, and that the burns were not realistic. And that didn't matter for a lot of people. And ultimately it I guess it doesn't. Um People didn't like it because it wasn't Robert Englund, and I get that. But they also didn't like it because they changed the story to where they just out and said it that Freddy he didn't just kill children. He sexually harmed them. Like, he molested them, or whatever the proper terminology is. Like, and so many people were like, Freddie didn't do that. And I'm like, you really think like somebody who was off in kids in the original series was like had restraint in that manner. Like, when he was doing all this other stuff, you think he was just, nah, I won't do that. I mean, they just never outright said it in the original, movies, but all right. So let me set up. I'm not going to scan the black and whites, but we will actually do the watercolors because I've only been doing this for about an hour, right? Oh, I went to Zia Records and I saw Screamboat was on Steelbook. It just made me laugh because I'm like, man, like I wouldn't even buy that on DVD or Blu-ray, like let alone pay extra for Steelbook for that piece of crap. But it's somebody's favorite movie, probably. But I did just find out that, oh God, dude, I didn't look. I mean, if it was a Blu-ray and it was Steelbook, it was probably like 30 something. I mean, there's like, I don't understand. And this isn't just like them, right? Not like just Zia, but like 4Ks are still selling for like $40. And it's like 4K's been around for like several years at this point. So like the technology isn't like brand new. They shouldn't be selling stuff for that price anymore. I don't know why they are, but they are. All right. Oh. I didn't know if I was going to get this far, so I didn't have all my watercolor stuff set up. Pro tip for saving a little bit of money, like if you do something on watercolor, like my first Chainsaw Man attempt, you can always use it again. Just trim it down a little bit, and then you can use it to like brush off for your watercolors, so you don't get like that super duper deep committal color. Are you going to go buy Steamboat or Screamboat? Jesus Christ, like give me a decent picture. Kitty does a decent cover of Unforgiven. I got some violin in there. Nice. So like it is really weird. Like the sleeves would match, right? So like why does it look like it's green on on the left arm, but then on this one it's red? Maybe that's a shadow. I think that's a shadow. You almost thought about getting it. You can't almost think about getting something. You either get it or you don't. You can either almost get it or you can think about getting it. But you can't almost think about getting it. I don't accept that, Dustin. Was it the Steelbook? Or was it just the regular one? It was a Steelbook? How do I get back to my playlists? This is like a totally different red. I guess it doesn't matter. I mean, it does, but because this is like that red. This is like, it's so weird. I thought I was using the same red. Maybe it's because I like mixed it a little bit, and after it, like it didn't get diluted anymore, or it diluted out. God damn it. Oh yeah. No, I hear you, dude. Like there was a couple of whenever I go to Zia, I always like check on certain movies, like if they're available in 4K, and always like if they're used, I'll get them versus buying it new, of course. But it's just so ridiculous the price of stuff nowadays. Like as much as comic book movies aren't really my thing anymore, like I wanted a copy of Superman, but dude, it was like $38. I'm like, I'll admit, I paid 40 or 45 for Flow, but it was also 4K and it was Criterion, so you're paying more for it automatically. Um, but that movie is friggin' magical. So well put together. It's so well animated. The characters are great. The It was all independently made and made mostly using Blender, which is a free animation and art program. And I think they even had actual dogs and cats and animals doing the sound. Like, I think they were able to get sound mixing with those creatures, right? All right. So this is going to be a problem. Okay, let me clean that. because you need a nice dark green. Okay. It's called Flow. It's um it's on HBO Max. It's an animated movie about a cat and a bunch of other animals that are displaced during a flood. And they they kind of partner up and go on a journey. It's a really well made movie. Like visually, it's stunning. I made sure to watch it before my subscription to HBO Max expired, and I'm really glad I did. I think I watched it like the weekend before, and I'm just like, kind of like almost brought tears to my eyes. Like that's how good it was. Hold on. Gotta go let the pup out. And it's okay that these greens don't match right now. I would definitely put Flow in my top animated movies of all time, for sure. All right. So I don't need that right there anymore. Little sister. Somebody who already read chapter 2 said that it is worth the slow burn in chapter 1, and they're really excited to see where the story goes, especially, he said, based on the last page, the last panel. Maybe I should have painted the moon in first. I'm gonna have to do some quasi masking work with it. Move that back a little bit. Okay, there we go. Was it 6 months to Godzilla minus zero? Because it's November, either 6th or 9th. -1 was so good. Another movie that's high on my list. Could easily be my number one movie of all time. And I never thought when I started that um, my like top 5 movies that anything would ever unseat Texas Chainsaw. I don't even think Texas Chainsaw Massacre is in my top 5 anymore. It's a phenomenal movie. I mean, it was made on a shoestring budget with like no name actors. And may actually be like one of the first slashers. I know a lot of people credit Halloween as being like the prototypical first slasher, but pretty sure Black Christmas predates that, and Texas Chainsaw predates that because it's from 74. I think Black Christmas is 76. And Black Christmas has more of a traditional like slasher aspect and elements to it, with the kills, but slasher terminology specifically came from, the use of knives in or bladed weapons in horror movies. Michael Myers uses a fucking butcher knife. Like, it's not even like, I don't know. Michael Myers is definitely not my favorite horror movie character. He's good, don't get me wrong, but and I think the way they did him in the first movie, where like the original, where there's no real motivation. Like, he just did it. I think that's what makes it more terrifying, is that there's no explanation, right? Like, we as human beings constantly need, reason behind everything. Yeah. So it's one of those things where it defies explanation as to why he did what he did. Go. All right, man. Thanks for tuning in. Get some rest. I'll post this to socials later once I finish it. Okay. We need Okay. And so will I. Okay. Let's think here. We're going to do the moon. If you give me a moment to reset, I'm going to have to turn my board so that everything fits. Okay. I think that works. All right. Nope. And that camera, like, it's the bar right there. It's so annoying. All right, let's see how this works. I know this is going to be the wild thing about doing these pieces that I realized for this one is I want the moon to look kind of subtle, but the way my scanner works means I have to make the colors bolder so that they show up on the scan. It's friggin' weird. Because I've done some of these like really great gradations on some of my pieces, like sunsets and they don't show up at all. Did one with my Gamera. I did one with my well, I guess the Chainsaw Man one I can still fix because that one hasn't been made into a print yet. Thinking of maybe putting some clouds or something into this, but I'm going to do some of the manual shading and then some like craters and stuff like that. Okay. That almost looks electric. That's crazy. Okay. Remember when I was in elementary school, we used to do these cool things called crayon resist. And so you would draw on, I mean, we didn't have watercolor paper, but you would draw with crayon on your paper, and then you would go over it with watercolor. And because of the wax of the crayon coating specific, the areas that you drew, your watercolor didn't show up on that area, right? Like the crayon came through. I do have some crayons. Maybe I'll do a crayon resist piece on my next live stream. That might be kind of fun to play with. Please take your order. It really wants to play that one. Got a great idea. All right. God dang it. forever. Did I'll always be your friend. Took an oath I'm sticking at to the end. Good Lord. Here we go. Might do some glints off the hat too. I don't know. But the Dreamwalker. Perfect. All right. Well, guys, if you tuned in at any point, thank you so much. Really, really appreciate it. Gonna go ahead and end the stream. Been 2.5 hours of art. Pretty happy with how this finished up. You guys have a good night.